Hey everybody, it's Frozen and thanks for joining me on this beautiful day. So I want to take a first look at the Zpacks Plexamid tent. For the past 5 years, I've typically been in a hammock setup and I just want to try something new. So I'm switching over to the dark side and going to ground for a little bit. Now, the Zpacks Plexamid tent is a 15-ounce one-person tent that takes 6 tent stakes to stake out. You can use up to 10 stakes in high wind environments. So let's take a look. I have the minimum amount of stakes, which is 6 to set this thing up, plus a trekking pole. But you can also attach 4 more tent stakes to this guy if you want to, maybe you're in a high wind situation or a bad storm, or even if you just want some extra room inside the tent, you can use those 4 additional stakes to kind of pull out the inside of it. One of the unique features about the Plexamid is this little rooftop, this rectangular rooftop up here. And this is where the trekking pole sits. As you can see, this little bump right here, that's my trekking pole inside. And you can see, perhaps, the titanium rods that are in here that circle the top of the rooftop. What this does is it actually extends the back wall. So if this wasn't here, the back wall would actually start here and angle this way. So it gives you quite a decent bit of extra room. We're talking this would be the start of the roof here and angled down. So this is quite an extension of that roof. Now, I'm not sure how much I like or hate this feature at this point, but I do know that this feature makes it very, not difficult, but a little cumbersome to pack up, as you have to like kind of origami around this little rectangular piece. Is it a big deal? I don't know. I'll tell you in about 14 nights when I do my full review on this guy. That's why this is only a first looks video. It only has 1 night on it. Just showing you around the tent. The whole tent is made up of Dyneema composite fabric. There is a higher denier on the floor compared to the blue roof right here. I've heard great things about the Dyneema. This makes up the bathtub floor from several thru hikers, saying it lasts a full through hike with no issues, no ground sheet at all. But if I notice any kind of abrasion or anything on that, I will just cut out a sheet of polycro and use it as a cheap alternative to a ground sheet. All around every tent guy out point, we have these little line lock connectors, and those are great. I might actually replace these lines with something lighter, maybe like a Zing-It, depending on if they function well with these line lock connectors or not. I think that would make it a little easier to set up, and I want to figure out a way to split these corners, so I'm not bringing an extra tent stake. If I want to bring it down to the ground, I would like to split this in 2 and have like a Y split and come out and hit that tent stake and this tent stake. And I'd like to do that on the just the sides. The back I'm not too worried about because the back is spread out completely fine, but when we take a look at inside and some of the issues that I've already seen with this on the inside with the walls being a little close, you'll see what I'm talking about. Something that's easily fixed, but just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention. The rainbow zipper does require, well, maybe not, okay. If depending on how it's set up, you may be required to use 2 hands to do it, yeah. So you need 2 hands to do most of the zipper, or you can finagle with it with 1 hand. You can see that the bathtub floor comes up about 6 inches, and then it's hard to tell with the wind coming through here right now. But you can also raise it up. So if you're getting some splashback, you just tighten this little cord lock down and it raises or lowers the floor as you need. The lower the floor, the better the ventilation though. So that's always something to keep in mind. On the top of the roof, you guys can see the titanium rods that are kind of forming this little rooftop up here. One of the things that I'm really worried about is that these are really, really tight inside these little sew-on loop things, these Grosgain loops or whatever they end up to be. I'm thinking actually about cutting about 1/8 of an inch off of each side of these to make that less tight. What I'm worried about and what I'm reading on the internet, the only downside about this tent, well, there's 2 downsides. One is packing it up because you have to form it around this little shelf up here, this little rooftop. And the second is some people have actually had complaints that even after switching from the carbon poles that were breaking on people, the titanium ones are cut a little too long, and I can feel it at the end of that. I can really, really feel it at the end of that. I'm worried about this popping out and puncturing this Dyneema up here. So that's something that I'm keeping my eye on. I may just shave them down on a grind wheel or something, or just hacksaw it off and then tape the sides, sand it down, make it nice. But in my opinion, there is no reason for those to be that tight in here. Now, I've also heard a lot of complaints recently about Zpacks not sewing their stuff correctly. I'll be honest, guys, I've never had a problem, never seen a problem with any of their sewing stuff on any of their tents or backpacks or even their stuff sacks. I think I had like maybe one minor issue and they fixed it for me. So yeah, I went around literally, not with a microscope, but I went on every single one of these seams and went over the sewing, and I can't find a darn thing wrong. I've also heard several people say that their tents have pinholes all over them and rain leaks. I haven't seen that issue with this tent at all. So maybe those could just be rumors, I'm not sure, but this tent is perfectly fine. Just to be completely clear with everyone, I did reach out to Zpacks myself and asked if they had any damaged or blemished models that they'd be willing to part with for maybe my personal experiences, my opinions, help them get better at some of the features on the tent in exchange for an honest and full review after I was ready. Just so you guys know, I'm not obligated to give Zpacks a good review. It's just like anything else I've reviewed. If I like it, I'm gonna say I like it. And if I don't like it, I'm gonna tell you guys exactly what's wrong with it. That's just the way I want the channel to go. I am not sponsored by anyone. I just like certain gear. I'm gonna put my feet out. We're hitting the edge of the bathtub floor over here. And I'm laying down. I'm gonna take my hands and I'm gonna stretch them out the whole way. My fingertips are barely reaching the edge of the bathtub floor. So for me, at 5'6", this tent is really spacious for me. I have enough room. I have plenty of room over here to put my backpack if I needed, even with a full sleeping pad in here. Now, on the flip side of having enough room lengthwise, I feel like if you're a taller person, you're definitely gonna wanna pull out these two ends, okay? Because even when I was getting up off of my sleeping pad, I found my head hitting the back wall, which is fine. I can just move down a little bit when I get up, but if you can't move down, if your legs are hitting the end of the wall, or end of the bathtub floor, excuse me, you're gonna hit this. So you're almost required to bring an extra tent stake or two just to pull out these two sides. The back wall, I don't think is ever gonna be an issue for me. I probably will never carry those two tent stakes. And if I need to pull those out, I would just find a stick or something and just put it in the ground. As far as headroom, you guys can see I have just plenty of room to grow in here. Now, I can't see if you are an exceptionally tall person that this tent is probably just not right for you. You may want to look into the Altiplex or possibly the Duplex, depending. So that about wraps up this first look video. I will give a more in-depth review once I get about 14 nights in this guy and get some miles on it. And we'll see how it goes. We'll see if I end up switching to a tent or I go back to a hammock, or maybe we'll even try something new after that. So thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you on the trail.